You can use the chat box. If you got any question, you can unmute your microphone and ask the questions. We can have an interactive session, not a problem. Okay. So I'm just going to walk everyone through what we have put up for the training program, the list of the topics over here. So the training program, what is being available is split across 3 modules. The first module is going to be the developers module, whereby we understand the overview of the HANA appliance, the architecture, the data modeling, right? And the second module is it's coming up in the next slide, where we have the system administration idea, a list of all the topics. And then the third module is the advanced area, where we discuss for project managers, for solution architects. We talk about the solution manager offering for the HANA implementation. We talk about the business use case. We talk about the BW on HANA use case and the other areas within the advanced topics. Right. So this first module is for the developers. So we have lesson for the overview for HANA, whereby in our actual training program we try and understand the overview of HANA as an appliance. We understand the high performance analytical appliance is a product that came up after SAP acquired Sybase last year, where Sybase was developing a hybrid database, whereby they put up the in-memory concept with the respective row-based and the column-based architecture inbuilt. So SAP acquired Sybase, they work upon that, and then SAP put up a lot of software components, and other SAP authorized hardware vendors also participating in the equipment installation for the multi-core architecture. So the collaborative effort between SAP, Sybase, and the hardware vendors came up with the high-performance analytical appliance. So in lesson number 1, we learn about the components and the subcomponents of the HANA appliance. We talk about the server, we talk about the operating system, what's installed right there. We talk about the HANA Studio and other subcomponents like the SAP host agent and the adapters, ODBC, JDBC, SQL DBC, all those drivers. Okay, lesson number 2 is the PAM, Product Availability Metrics, where we try and understand what are the SAP authorized hardware vendors. We will have a chart put up where we see the list of all the hardware vendors, their offerings, how much main memory that is available in the CPUs of each of their offerings, what is the operating system over there, and what is the file system. So it gives us an overview idea what are the hardware offerings from those hardware vendors. The product availability metrics talks about that. Lesson number 3, we try and understand the architecture from 6 different angles in order to have an in and out process flow understanding, the terminologies that we're going to learn over here, the features available over there. So we start up with 3.1, where we understand the appliance architecture, where we have different layers. We got source system layer, likewise a processing layer, an IMC layer, a presentation layer, etc. We see that. And then the next part is 3.2, where we understand the database engine view. And to be more precise, what actually happens behind the scene in the database IMDb, in the engine. There is a gateway interface, there is a processing controlling area, right? So we try and understand all the database engine. Then loading view, then data modeling view, reporting view, the administration view, right? So these are the views that we're going to discuss in the architecture in lesson number 3. Then lesson number 4, we try and understand the landscaping, right? So as a solution architect of HANA, or as a project lead or a HANA consultant, while performing the HANA implementation, we try to come up with certain connectivity use case. If a customer runs on an older version of a SAP ERP or a CRM, what is the landscape that we have? If the customer runs on the upper version of the SAP, what is the landscape we have? If it is a non-SAP customer, right? So what are the options available for those? So the landscaping, lesson number 4, talks about all those options available for the customers to opt for the HANA connectivity. We talk about those connections available, option 1, 2, 3, like that. Lesson number 5 is the SAP standard server sizing guidelines, where we have a t-shirt based server sizes, extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, right? And also we see the interesting part. What is the parameter to select what a customer should opt for, either a medium server or a large server? We also see the price that gets involved while in the procurement of these servers, how much each of these servers costs to the customer, extra small, medium, large, extra large servers. Then lesson number 6 is the overview about the data provisioning. So here we try and understand those extractors for the data provisioning. Data provisioning meaning data loading over to the HANA, the data acquisition component, right? So we try and understand the business objects data services, what is the process flow, and how the other activities needs to be done by the business objects data services team for the data loading. And then 6.2 is where we try and understand the SLT, the SAP Landscape Transformation, which is offered as a generic solution by SAP to all the SAP customers. Right, so we understand the process flow, we understand the architecture of the SLT, we try and understand the transformation capabilities of the SLT, and most importantly, we understand the add-on TDMS. Right, we see that in lesson number 6. And after having all these general ideas, the architecture, the components, the guidelines, the landscaping details, we start with our intensive area for the development. So lesson number 7, we talk about all those perspectives that we have. Perspectives are nothing but the sub-applications of the HANA Studio. Right, we see all those. We explore the HANA Studio, which is the interface to the HANA database. Right, we open up individual applications that are available within the HANA Studio. We open the information modeler, the administration console, the lifecycle management, etc., and then see what's available for us to have a look and feel about the HANA Studio. After having all those exploration done, we start with the data modeling. Lesson number 8 is where we start with the creation of a package, connecting with a schema, identifying those tables that are grouped together representing a business process, and then developing our business scenario using the HANA data models. So the HANA data models are created using these views, the attribute views, the analytic views for the analysis purpose. The calculation view provide a unified data modeling feature. And then we also learn about how in HANA the transport takes place across the 3-system landscape or the 2-system landscape. How does the transport mechanism work over there? Then we talk about the mass copy, whereby we see all the SAP standard data models available. How do you proceed? What is the step-by-step? How do you do the migrate for the multilingual support functions? How do you perform the auto documentation, switch ownership, etc., etc.? We see there in the HANA system directly. Then we talk about the overview on the reporting. What are the reporting tools and the client connectivity options that are available on the presentation layer for the reporting purpose. And lesson number 10, 11, the user management. So this is the first module that we have put up. And this first module, we see all the development application related list of topics. The next topic over here, as I move to the next slide, from the next module over here, of course. So lesson number 12 to lesson number 23 is the second module. We try to understand the superlative system administration areas, the basis component, because from my experiences and also from the customer's point of view, customer perspective, they expect the HANA consultants to know about what are the hardware configuration and then how the hardware vendors perform the configuration, right? And what are the memory modules if they need to expand, how much they need to expand, what if a power shutdown happens or a system restart happens, how does the system recover by itself. So all those details we learn from lesson number 12 to lesson number 23. And then we move on to the advanced topic, lesson number 24 to 29. Right, so we talk about the SLT replication technique. We understand the process flow, etc. Then COPA business case. This is a very interesting use case for all the HANA customers going in for the HANA implementation. They take up COPA, the profitability analysis, and we try and understand why do they take up COPA? Why can't they take up supply chain management? Why don't they take up the product lifecycle management? Right. So what is there in COPA which really excites the customer? Right. We study that, we do a reverse engineering, we investigate over there, and then we of course find the COPA data models, the operating concern of COPA, what are the application tables, how a schema is been created in the COPA, all those things we understand over here in the business case. Number 26 is the security and the authorization. This is again another interesting area whereby we try and understand the 4 different categories of the authorization that is prevalent in the HANA. Right, so we have the security objects like the system authorization, the SQL authorization, a package authorization, and the analysis authorization. So we learn each one of those. We learn how to create them. We learn how to assign them to roles, and the roles to be further assigned to the users. Right, so we have that particular practice. Number 27 is for the solution architects, project leads, and project managers, and also for the HANA developers, of course. How do you leverage the offerings of a SAP solution manager while performing the HANA implementation for customers? So we have different series of the activities that needs to be performed in HANA, and all those needs to be recorded in Solution Manager. The Solution Manager provides those predefined templates for the business blueprint documents, for the test cases, test scenarios, test results, the cutover strategy planning, the final preparation for the go-live support service desk, etc. And then most important, the EWA, the early watch alerts. All right, so we learn over there, lesson number 27. 28 is another use case for the BW on HANA. So before we go over there, how does the BW system connect with HANA? We talk about the options available, the DB migration, technical upgrade, etc., and what is the result for BW? Does BW become more stronger, or does BW become a parallel to HANA? Right? We discuss all those. And then finally, the RDS, the rapid deployment solutions. The rapid deployment solutions are spread across multiple industries, sectors, and the LOBs, line of business. So we take up 26 industries. We learn one by one what these industries have, and the sectors have, and the LOBs are available for those industries, and what does the RDS have to offer, the rapid deployment solutions. The rapid deployment solution comprises of the pre-built, pre-configured data models specially designed for HANA. So in a HANA implementation, we simply download it, activate it, and then deploy that, the RDS component. And then finally, for everyone to help you get certified. So we talk about what is the examination pattern, how many questions will be there, what is the distribution of the examination questions, and also do a mock test where I'm going to pull up 80 questions, just like in the certification exam. There will be 80 questions. So the 80 questions are the original previous questions that has been asked, that has been raised across the globe for the certification exam. So we do a mock test on that and build our confidence on that particular area. So these are the list of the topics, lesson 1 to lesson 30. Each of these components divided into 3 parts. Part A is the developer. Part B is the system administration area. Part C over here is the advanced topic. So just a quick overview. What is the HANA in-memory computing? How does it get connected? So this is a primer or an overview foundation that we have over here. So the HANA in-memory computing can connect to any sources, SAP, non-SAP, databases, RDBMS, DBMS, it can connect, and then the data gets loaded over to the IMDb, and then the presentation layer according to what the customer has. If the customer has IBM Cognos or MicroStrategy or the business objects list of the portfolio list of tools, right? So they have the connectivity option. So this is the process flow that have those different layers: source system, data processing layer, and then the presentation layer. And to be more precise, if you have a quick look at the architecture, this is the appliance architecture. It comprises of the other peripherals that are also connected, peripherals like the source system, like the extractors, and the presentation reporting tools. So I'm going to use the highlighter and highlight those different layers. So we start from the bottom-up approach, where you see the source system layer, SAP or non-SAP source system, database, RDBMS, DBMS, flat file, etc. So you have everything at the source system layer. The source system layer, source systems are connected to the extraction layer. The extraction layer provides those three different extractors. The first extractor is from the Sybase. The second extractor is from the SAP itself. SAP Generic Solution stands for SAP Landscape Transformation, SLT. The third one is from Business Objects. Again, an SAP product, SAP Business Objects Data Services. So using the suitable extractor, depending upon the customer infrastructure, if it is a pure SAP installation base, then we go for SLT. If the customer has other non-SAP systems, then we go for data services. If the customer purely has a DB2 source system, then we go for the Sybase. So these are the three standard extractors for the structured extraction available for HANA. Above the extraction layer is the data processing layer, where we see the IMC, in-memory computing engine, and it has got two logical compartments. You can see to the left-hand side the calculation planning engine together for all the calculation purposes. Planning engine, because we're going to have a planning application on top of the HANA database, like a BPC, for example, to provide and perform the write-back capabilities into the database, right? So we need a planning engine dedicated for that purpose. And the actual computation of all those, the calculated measures, the calculated attributes, the calculated columns, the calculated views, so all will be performed in the calculation engine. And the other compartment is where you see the row and the column store. The row store is where we see all the line item details, and the column store is where we get the summarized data, right? So this is how the data has been structured. This is how we call it as a hybrid database mechanism. Right? So we'll discuss in the database engine in our training program in detail. This is just the overview. And above the data process layer is the design layer, where you see the modeling studio. This particular modeling studio provides the developers to create packages to represent the business scenarios, business data models by creating those views, attribute, analytic, calculation views, have them transported across the system landscape. Right. So these are the things that we're going to see and we're going to perform, and this is the data design layer. Over and above the modeling, we're going to see the administration part, where we use the user management, security authorization, etc. And then finally the presentation layer. So the structured layer of the appliance architecture. Right, so moving over to the next slide is a quick screenshot of what it looks like in the in using the HANA system. This is the HANA Studio, the interface for the developers, for the administrators, for any user of the HANA. They have to log in through the HANA Studio. So this is the screenshot, what we have over here. So to the left-hand side, you can see the package, those views available. To the right-hand side, you see the other features and the other functions available, the lower compartment where you have some of the settings to be done, etc. So this is the landing page of the information modeler application using HANA Studio. We're going to see that in our training program. Once we cover up all the lessons, then we are at the lesson number 6, 7, 8. We study all these. The new terminologies that we're going to learn, the features, the exploration, the navigation, and then most important, the data modeling. So when it comes to data modeling, you see there is a kind of a star schema concept whereby we have a fact table in the center, and then we have the other attribute views, right? They are just like a dimension. They are connected using a primary key, foreign key relationship, depending upon the cardinality, 1:1 or 1:many, depending upon the type of the join. Should we have a referential integrity join? Should we have a text join or inner join and outer join? So we have all those components that needs to be addressed while performing the HANA data modeling. So we're going to learn all those guidelines and the principles, and then we come over here to develop our HANA data modeling. Likewise, the HANA data modeling is a very user-friendly, and it's a very simple tool. If you have the experience working with the other data warehousing tool and compare with HANA Studio, you will find it very simple and easy to use, GUI based, where you just drag, drop, connect, and deploy. Right? So this is a very flexible remodeling tool. It does not disrupt the end users. Right? So if you work with the other data warehousing tool, if there is a new field that needs to be incorporated, so you stop the data load, you inform the users that you won't get the reports for, say, 2 days or 1 day, and then you do the developments and do data loading. Here, we work with the views. So views are very flexible in terms of any remodeling capability. So we just drag, drop, point, and deploy. So this offers the developers a very user-friendly tool. Right, so everyone, you will enjoy using the system access and doing the practice. Okay, so for each practice and for each data model and for each object that we are going to create, there will be a guideline. There will be a process flow which provides all those pointers, step by step, what needs to be done one after the another in order to have a successful development, in order to have a successful data model. So you will see for each of those objects, views, data models, there will be a process flow like this. So first do this and then do that, and likewise you go for the other steps. So in the training material, you will see all those guidelines along with the screenshots, right? And then once your data model has been created, we have the option to preview the data. The previewing data is available in 3 options. Either you want to see a raw data where you are interested to see the null values, the not assigned values. Then you can always look for the distinct values. So there are these 3 different tabs over here: raw data, distinct values, and the analysis. The analysis provides a graphical representation of how the data gets shown in using what type of charts been selected. You can go for a pie chart or a line chart or a combined histogram, right, depending upon that. So it's a very flexible tool for the development, designing, data modeling, and also data preview using the graphical representation. Now customers have become smarter. They do not depend on the reporting guys for the reports to be generated. So they can log in, develop the data model on the fly, and then see the data analysis immediately on the HANA Studio. So we're going to learn one by one what are all these options available, how do you combine the attributes, the measures together, create some of the derived attributes, the derived measures based upon the business requirement, based upon the formula that you have over for the customer use case. So accordingly we see the data represented over here graphically. So these are the screenshots. And then finally, after we are satisfied and the data models has been activated, right? The data preview looks okay. We have performed the reconciliation with the source, and then the reconciliation has been signed off by your customer. Then we are ready for the transport. Now the HANA Transport is slightly different from the SAP world, where we use a transport request, we release it, and then we have an STMS import. But here, it is more graphical. Here, it is more easier to perform these transport, right? As a developer, we just export the package, and we connect to the next system, and then we import it over there. There are two types of transport mechanisms. We will see the client type, server type. Accordingly, we try and understand both of them together. And what is the difference between a client type of export transport and a server type of export transport? We're going to have that particular practice using the system access, right? So after the transports are ready, then we have the go live after that. So this is basically how we do on a real-time basis. We're going to have that kind of a replica model so that we learn on that direction. We learn just like a real-time project implementation. Okay. So in your practice, you will be assigned with tasks. You will be required to connect to a particular schema, develop data models out of it, and then I'm going to come back and check if you come across any technical difficulties. I'm going to do a quick resolution. We can have a discussion like that. So we have a interactive session, both-way communication, and then accomplish what we all are here for. Okay, so okay, so just a moment, I think. Okay, the next slide is all about the customers that have gone live. They've gone live last year already. And each of these customers have a customer testimonial where they talk about their experience, the way SAP have developed those consulting packages, etc. So there will be a customer testimonial document uploaded so that you have a general idea how these customer-based installation went with the HANA implementation, what were their expectations in terms of the numbers, how much they're able to accelerate, right, in terms of performance, in terms of data loading, and in terms of the data retrieval for the presentation purpose. For each of these for each of these customers, there are the reference customer testimonial. So you can see on the CPG, the customer products group, consumer health products, the Colgate Palmolive, P&G, Medidata, manufacturing, Bosch Siemens over here. You see BASF is a chemicals company. They implemented the SLT mechanism. Then they later on moved over to the business objects data services. So we're going to understand why they moved on, what are the conditions that they have to move on to the other extractor. Then on the energy sector, you got Centrica in Europe, where they went in for a smart meter analytics because they are in energy sector utility where they wanted to read from the multiple meters. So there is a smart meter analytics as an RTS, rapid deployment solution, available. So likewise, we discuss all of these together. And the next slide over here is a continued list of all those customers who have started the second phase of the implementation, 2012. They started, and then they've successfully gone live. Likewise, there are over 350 customers who have signed up for the HANA implementation across the globe. Right, more than that actually. Entirely North America, you will see a lot of implementations going in with these product-based companies, and yep. So these are the list of the companies that have successfully gone live. Okay, so I'm just going to connect with the remote access to just quickly show the the HANA Studio system. Meantime, you can unmute your microphone or use the chat box if you've got any questions. I will be pleased to answer them. Okay, I got a good question from Delanta. What is the course duration? It will be done in 12 sessions. Each session will be 2 hours duration. Yep, Devanshu, go ahead with your question. Okay, 40 hours is including your practice. So we're going to have just 25 hours for the theory, right? The sessions, the theory that we have an interactive session like this, it will be for 20 or 25 hours, right? And then beyond that, it can be more than 40 hours. How long you take up your assignment? Okay. The iteration of the sessions on the weekly distribution will be sent by the organizers. They're going to send you the timelines accordingly what time of the day we all need to connect. Okay. Samir, just a moment. Okay. Yep, I'm going to, I'm sorry. I need to unmute everyone. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I have to take that Carol has now.
Yeah,
Jackie, you're talking about 12 times 2. You said 12 sessions, and each session is going to be 2 hours. So you're talking 12 times 2, 24 hours for the whole session?
Yep, the theory part.
So you're talking about 30 lessons, right? Your whole course is divided into 3 modules, and including all the modules, say 30 lessons, and 30 lessons will be covered in 24 hours?
Yes. Some of the lessons are small, so we may have 3 lessons in one session.
Okay. Now, Jackie, what kind of background do you need? Because I'm totally new to SAP. I've never worked with it before. I have a little bit of database experience, but flat out honest. What kind of, because that seems like 30 lessons, and based on your presentation, that seems like a lot of things going on for 30 lessons in 24 hours. What kind of prerequisite or background is needed for this course?
The background that we require for the HANA is a basic understanding about the RDBMS, because HANA is an RDBMS. First up, we need to know how a database works. So we will be working with the tables, we'll be working with the database schema, and then develop the data model. So we need to have a basic understanding about the database, and the most important part is how we understand the customer business. If the customer, say for example, is on the aerospace and the defense sector, we need to have those information, because we're going to replicate and then we develop the data models. So the technical prerequisite is to have, just a moment, I'm sorry, I need to unmute. So the technical components that are required for learning HANA is to have a basic understanding about the SAP and some of the non-SAP systems, because HANA can connect to both SAP and non-SAP systems. So it is not a mandatory thing that we need to be from the SAP background. It can be from a non-SAP. You can be from Teradata, or else anybody can be from the other, say, mainframe systems. The main thing here is this is a new tool. The most important thing that is required is the data modeling skills. And the data modeling skills in HANA is very, very simple. We just drag, drop, connect, and deploy. It is developed keeping everybody in mind, keeping the business users in mind, because the business users directly develop data models by themselves. So the modeling features available over here, very easy to design and develop. What is important, what is expected from a HANA consultant is the solutioning part. How we have a data model that is represented from the HANA data models from the customer. So that is where we're going to learn by our interactive session, and then we start with the development.
Okay, Jackie, Devanshu here.
Yep.
How many, like, what will be the server landscape we will get access to, and for how many, for what tenure we'll get the server access?
That will be informed by the organizers, Devanshu.
Okay, okay. Like one more question I have, like, there is a topic of BW on HANA in your curriculum, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not wrong, like, HANA supports only BW 7.3 version.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So it's like I am a BW consultant basically, but I have all my experience on 7.0. So do you think that is an impediment towards understanding that part?
Nope. In our discussion, we're going to learn the objects available in BW 7.3. So you will get all the reference document. So that's so it's going to be easy, not a problem.
Jackie Shashi here. I just want to know if you would be able to provide HANA certification material, like, TZH
Yes.
200. So would it be the new ones, like TZH?
200. Sashi, are you from the system administration background?
No.
Okay, 200 is not the material we are looking at. The 200 is for the basis, because in HANA certification there are two examination codes. One is for the application consultant, and the other one is for the system administrators.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So we're going to focus over to the application consultant examination.
Okay. Yes. So I mean, the reason why I was referring to 200 is that earlier it was TZH 300 and TZ HANA. But I think now it's changed to different names, right? TZH 200 and HA 300.
HA is the general document. So HA 100, 200, 300, they are again the compiled version of TZ HANA and the TZH 300. So they are the same document. The namings has been changed.
Oh, okay. You mean to say there's no new content added there? Because
there are some components that additionally I will supply those documents. No need to worry about that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Right? Okay. Any other questions from the other participants?
Jackie, Devanshu here again. Since we are speaking of certifications, I wanted to ask, like, HANA is coming up with newer versions, like 2.0. Right now it's 1.0, but soon they will be. So shall we wait till 2.0 comes with new functionalities and that certification will make sense? Or is it okay to go for certification right now?
My recommendation, go for certification right away. There are multiple reasons that I'm going to tell you. Number one, the current certification examination is easier to pass. The pass percentage was 59% till July. From August, it has been increased to 64%, and by the end of September, it is going to be increased to 70%. Sorry, by the end of October, sorry, it was going to be increased to 70% pass percentage. So while it is easier for anyone to clear the certification exam, because compared to the number of projects that are coming up entirely in North America, Europe, and Australia and Asia, the number of HANA certified consultants are very, very, very less. So take this opportunity, get yourself certified, and then immediately take up the HANA assignments. The HANA 2.0 is going to be released by 2013. So do not wait for that long. My recommendation, go for certification as early as possible. Get yourself certified. Bring in some weightage to your resume and get involved in the HANA engagement projects. And then later on, you can go for any Delta certification. It's going to be really good, career advancement likewise. So go for the exam this year.
Hey Jackie, Shashi here again. I think you answered a similar question earlier related to the background, basically which I have. Like my background is ABAP and XAPI. So because when we get into HANA, it's not just modeling in HANA, but it also involves like the reporting thing, which is like BO and those stuff. So just want to know, with having no knowledge about BO or BW, BA, how does it work for me? Just ABAP and XIPA.
Okay, so again, the ABAP component is going to be applied not in the HANA database, but it will be applied onto the applications that are connected on top of HANA. Say, for example, the ECC on HANA is going to be available by December 2012, the FICO component, and then later on you have other modules available. So these applications run on ABAP. So you can still continue leveraging your ABAP skills, your programming skills, of course, and then learn the new HANA database and focus on the data modeling. You need not worry about the BobJ component. Right? The BobJ will be a separate reporting team, or the Cognos team will do that, or a MicroStrategy reporting tool, whichever the customer has. So you need not worry about that portfolio of all the tools on the presentation. At the moment, focus on database HANA, focus on the data modeling area, and then you keep your ABAP skills ready, because the applications on HANA is going to be running on the ABAP platform, so you can kickstart like that.
Okay, so I mean, you mean to say in North America at least, I should be able to basically match my profile to some jobs with the current the current technology I have, plus just the modeling, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Because we already have the BW on HANA. BW runs on ABAP and requires some ABAPing skills over there. So likewise the BPC on HANA, likewise the entire ECC list of all the modules on top of HANA. So you can still leverage your ABAP skills. And plus, if you know HANA, then you can go with these multiple combinations of use case implementations.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Jackie, one question is, like, you spoke about the transports in your curriculum for HANA.
Yep.
Right. So usually in SAP landscape we have three systems: development, quality, and production. But how does it work if there is just one server in HANA?
Good question. This is Devanshu, right? So this is a very interesting question here. The HANA is just one box. And in SAP, there are three different boxes: the development box, QA box, production box. There is a RFC connection for the transport landscape. All these things happen here. In the case of HANA, we have a reduced landscape. We have a reduced complexity. And over here, within the same box, there will be multiple hosts. Each host represents a landscape. So within one HANA box, we may have the development host, the QA host, and the production host together. So we perform the transport between the hosts of the HANA box: QA, production, from development, like that. This is applicable for the scale out type of customers, right? And for the scale-up type of customers also it's possible. So we will talk about these terminologies later on. But the transport happens in the three-system landscape, but within the box, within one HANA box, within one instance number, within one host.
Okay, okay.
We will see the architecture, we understand that.
Okay, great. Yeah, that answers the question. Okay. And okay, so BO we don't need to know in depth for certification. You already clarified that, right? So
nope. BO actually in the certification exam there will be some general knowledge questions. What are the BO reporting tools? What are the systems that HANA can connect to? What are the we will study all those. So we are approaching from the certification examination point of view. So everything is covered up here, and the reference documents to be available. We're going to have those discussions purely for the certification and on the real-time based. So for the certification exam, the business objects is not considered as a primary module. It's not considered as a mandatory requirement. We need to know just the overview, the client connectivity options, what are the adapters available, what are the options available.
okay, okay. And after each session, will we be having doubt clearing sessions as well?
Yeah, after each session, the session will be like this. It will be an interactive session. So if anybody has a question, you can immediately unmute your microphone or use the chat box. I'm going to answer the question. And at the end of the session also, we will have a Q&A type question answers.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys?
Can we use BW extractors to extract data into HANA?
Yes, Dilanta, there is an option available, and actually there are two options. We will study about that. There is something called as the ODP API, Operational Data Provisioning API, which allows the standard BI extractors to be used for the HANA. That is available in the BODS. So we can use either the standard BW extractor from the BW or from the BODS.
Okay, and so we'll be seeing that in system, right? The standard extractors for BW or for ECC?
No, we won't be seeing that because the standard extractors available for the ODP API is being released separately. There is a component that needs to be downloaded by the customer. They have to buy that component, and then the ODP API is purchased by the customer, and then they will be able to see that.
Okay.
So here we learn about how the ODP API functionality works and the process flow of the ODP API in the data services. And for the BW extractor, should we go for the generic extractor? Generic means the standard extractor which is available from the BI content, or should we go with the BODS, or should we go for a BW data migration? So there are multiple use cases that is possible out of the BW to connect with HANA. Or else there can be an open hub destination created, right? So there can be a selective data load also available from BW. So we discuss all these options in the training program.
Okay. And SLT also will cover
Yes.
in the system, right?
Not in the system. Because the SLT is owned by SIP. They do not give the authorization to the SIs. They do not give the authorization to the consultants. So the SLT data provisioning is locked down because the SLT is a non-industrialized tool. So SAP only gives the authorization to their ABAPers because SLT involves a very intensive ABAPing skills over here. So they do not give the authorization to anyone. They do it with their own team. But we're going to have some of the screenshots that I managed to take from few customers, and then we're going to see how the SLT actually drives the data replication in the TDMS add-on, what is the architecture, what is the transformation capabilities of the SLT that has not been disclosed by SAP to the customers or to the SIs.
Does that include Delta also?
Yep.
Okay. So the BW HANA integration will be BW on HANA or HANA on BW. Which one will we be covering?
No, there is only one combination, BW on HANA. Because here, the underlying database, the traditional database, the underlying database of the BW will be replaced by the new HANA database. So BW will be always on top of the HANA database. So we call it BW powered by HANA.
Okay. Yeah, but HANA also can take data from BW through the SLT and all, right?
Yes, it can. If it is required, say for example, a customer has a regional BI systems, for example, one in North America, one in Argentina, another one in Germany. So these local BI systems can be connected, grouped together into the HANA database. In that case, the HANA is going to extract data from the BW and present an EDW architecture, Enterprise Data Warehouse, all in one system.
Okay. Okay. And I saw that user security is also the part of curriculum. So like in BW, we have analysis authorizations, which is the cell level or the column level security. So do we have some same thing in HANA or similar thing in HANA as well?
Yes, we have a similar thing in HANA, which we call it as the analytic authorization.
Okay.
There are 4 types of authorizations in HANA. One is the analytic authorization, the second one is the system authorization, the third one is the package authorization, and the fourth one is the database SQL authorization. So we're going to cover each one of those in detail.
Okay.
We will be creating those authorization objects depending upon the definition that we want to. Then we're going to start assigning these authorization objects directly to the users and maybe to the roles, and from the roles back to the users. So we're going to have an extensive area in the security authorization.
Okay.
Any other follow-up questions before we end the demo session?
Jackie, this is Charlie.
Yep, go ahead.
I have a background in .NET and I do have some RDBMS background also. So what are the prerequisites for this course? I know you have already answered this question, but just before starting this course, I would like to get the basic concepts so that I'm well prepared.
Okay. The .NET example is been already done by one of the customers, which is Sony. Sony International. They developed their own application using the .NET framework on the Oracle database. And in the first POC, what they did is they tried to extract from the Oracle. Using the .NET, they have a write-back option. They were actually doing a planning using the .NET over to the database of the Oracle, and then they performed the extraction. So if you have those skills, you can move into those areas. On top of that, if you have the additional skills of learning and understanding HANA, you can leverage those and then have a career advancement. So it is not a mandatory thing that these are the technical prerequisites for HANA. Anybody can learn HANA. Business analysts coming from the Big Four consulting company also learn HANA. For the sales and the pre-sales, for the opportunity creation, they come back here, they learn HANA, they learn the technical things over here. So there is no technical limitation as such as a mandatory tool that is required to HANA. HANA, we're going to learn everything in and out. So there is, the only thing here is how best can we adjust our data model to the customer business. That is important. So we need to have we need to come out from our technical skills and come over to the business consulting side. We discuss with the end users, we discuss with the counterparts, the business analysts, and then we develop a data model in such a way that is equivalent to the customer business. All right.
Okay, thanks, Jack.
Welcome, no problem. Any other questions before we end the demo? Any doubts, any follow-up questions?
So, can we say like, just one suggestion, like, do we need to know SQL scripting for HANA?
SQL scripting, here in HANA, since it is a database, if you know SQL scripting is good, but in the HANA, we will not be doing the SQL script. We will be doing everything graphically. The SQL script is required, say for example, if you log in as an administrator, right? You need to, say for example, create a schema, database schema, or say alter a user or change the password policy or update a database table. Then we use the SQL script. The SQL script, again, on the other hand, is a very simple list of commands. Select, update, insert, delete, and drop. These are the SQL scripts, SQL commands in the SQL script available. So not a problem. There is a reference document. If anybody is not aware about the SQL script, there is a separate document. It is a very simple. You can learn it in just 1 hour and finish the SQL scripting part. So it's okay. But as a standard offering from SAP, we will proceed with that as a graphical tool.
Okay. And what is the maximum size the HANA is offering for its RAM for the memory?
It depends from the different types of servers, starting from extra small, small, medium, large, extra large. So on an average, we can say 10 terabytes or 15 terabytes, 25 terabytes, like that. So, but the customers are very smart. What they do is they purchase the memory in the number of units. So 1 unit is equal to 64 GB, 64 gigs. So they purchase some 10 units or 15 units, and then they start with the pilot project. And the pilot project itself will take some 6 months. So they're waiting for the price to come down, okay, and then they expand the memory. The expansion of memory is very simple. Just the system administrator, what they do is just like you insert a flash drive, the pen drives, just like that. There is an expansion slot. SSD, SCSI drives are available for the expansion of the memory. Each blade will have a different microchips. Each microchip will have minimum of 256, ranging over an average of 500 gigs to 1 or 5 terabytes per memory chip. That means one blade is going to have around 25 terabytes. So likewise, each blade can be extended, scaled up.
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. The client I am working on, they have the BI accelerator installed. So if a client has a BI accelerator, what is the transition to HANA? Do they is it moved the same server will be changed to HANA, or they have to install it completely independent of that?
The same server will be integrated with HANA. There is no double work, no re-implementation required. In fact, the customer will get a discount if they trade off the BWA with the HANA memories.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see. All right. So when is this training beginning, Jack?
I think it's going to be
Jackie,
confirmed.
what you can do is you can talk to Satish, okay, regarding your training. Whatever maybe the things are there, you can talk to Satish. Maybe you have